Archive Servitor 93 Omicron is online. Accessing archived Imperial data. Initiating story protocol. They came from beneath the sands. Silent, unyielding. With cold logic and living metal, the Necrons claimed the world of Erebos Prime in one night. What happens to civilization when the immortal machines rule? This is what the Imperium has found out, and what you shouldn't ever hope to live through. Shortly before the fall, Erebos Prime was a routine Imperial agri-world. Low belletristic cities, hive clusters, Imperial Guard garrisons, and millions of farm laborers tending hydroponic zones. Recon probes monitoring the system reported nothing unusual, until the moment the Necrons resurfaced from beneath the crust. Within hours, entire regiments were cut down, orbital defenses shredded, the planetary governor vanished. What followed was methodical and absolute. The Imperium's analysts later compiled fragments of witness testimony from pockets of survivors. The Necrons do not rely on terror alone. Their rule is mechanical, cold, and brutally efficient. They do not demand loyalty. They require compliance. They do not show mercy. They simply disregard irrelevant life. Within weeks of conquest, the Necrons claimed all central infrastructure, waterworks, atmospheric processors, energy grids, and enclosed them under blackstone fields and phase-lock barriers, so that humans could no longer access them except through strict rationing. Residential zones were cut off. Many hab blocks collapsed or were repurposed as holding zones or boneyards. The remainder were permitted only skeletal access, only designated corridors, only when counted, only under the watch of sentinel constructs. In some sectors, repair crews of human serfs were forced to maintain the Necrons' own devices, swapping coolant conduits, recalibrating phase shields, recharging energy capacitors under threat of immediate execution if failure occurred. Hoes whom the Necrons deemed useful were conscripted into what the Imperium calls maintenance cohorts. Their work is robotic, mindless, endlessly repetitive, polishing the inner sanctums, sweeping detritus, feeding coolant matrices, and repairing minor faults. These laborers are supervised by canoptech constructs, mechanical overseers, which monitor efficiency, impose punishments, and terminate non-compliance with no trial. The slightest fault, a misaligned conduit, a skipped cycle, an unauthorized pause, draws corrective reattachment, i.e. the immediate removal of the offender and replacement. Food is allocated, but only enough to sustain minimal metabolism. It is plain, synthetic, tasteless, no spices, no variation, and rations often interrupted by supply reallocation when Necron projects demand resources. Many colonists die quietly of starvation or disease, their bodies removed at night by silent skimmer drones. Every district is monitored by phalanx nodes, micro-transmitters linked to quantum command nets. No conversation is private, no congregation permitted. Dissent is eliminated before it can form. Whispered rebellion, secret meetings, even clandestine messages are hunted down and terminated. The Necrons do not need to kill everyone. They only need to quash potential threats. Thus, even the slightest sign of subversion is enough to vanish. Religion, art, culture, all are suppressed or allowed in strictly hollow form. Imperial chaplains and priests are hunted. Icons defaced. The Necrons permit spiritual worship, only in hidden sanctuaries, extinguishing them swiftly if detected. Poets, scribes, musicians, if found, they vanish. Some say that their echoes remain in the dust, unread, unheard. The Necrons maintain a caste of permitted humans, administrators, engineers, docile bureaucrats who assist with low-level management under direct surveillance. Their privilege is fragile. Meanwhile, the mass population is reduced to a floating underclass, expendable, ignored unless needed as labor, then disposed. Some districts are declared sterile zones. No humans are permitted. Buildings torn down, terraformed for Necron use. Those left are simply cleared, no questions asked. To say there is resistance is generous. The Necron's nature, their unyielding immortality, ability to phase in and out, devastating firepower, and disregard for organic life, means that open rebellion is suicidal. All known insurgent efforts are local, isolated, swiftly extinguished. Yet the Imperium has catalogued a few stamped fragments of hope. Small underground cells of human survivors have been observed to sabotage coolant conduits, overload energy capacitors, and plant micro-disruptors in unattended nodes. These cells do not seek to overthrow. They only aim to slow, harass, distract. They vanish as quickly as they appear. The Imperium believes some messages did make it off-world. Pleas for rescue, alerts of Necron progress, transmission bursts buried in Blackstone interference. But these are scraps. The Necrons respond by phase-cleansing towers. They phase the fabric of space itself, removing entire neighborhoods and rebuilding them anew, wiping out every trace of sabotage. In one recorded case, a quarter of a hive spire vanished overnight, leaving only a crater and a new Necron spire rising in its stead. The Imperium's records show that many survivors succumb not to violence, but to despair, apathy, and madness. Under perpetual surveillance, under cold logic, life becomes a mechanical loop. Eat, sleep, maintain, serve. No real hope, no future. Some refuse to cooperate. They are removed. Others become hollow shells, serving without resistance. The last flicker of identity is extinguished. The Imperium regards worlds under Necron rule as quarantine tomb states rather than active territories. If the world is strategically worthless, it is often left alone. No crusade assigned, no reclaiming attempt, lest the Necrons reactivate. If the world is critical, an exterminatus is considered, because reclaiming an already ruined planet often costs more than it's worth. In the rare cases where reconquests succeed, the residual trauma of Necron contamination makes full recovery almost impossible. What the Imperium has learned is chilling. The Necrons are not just conquerors, they are custodians of a dead order. Under their rule, life becomes a statistic, a delta to be tolerated or removed. There is no revolt, there is no uprising, there is only survival in the shadow of the machine. To live under Necron dominion is not to live, it is to endure. Archive transfer complete. Click-like command to confirm comprehension. Engage subscription protocol to ensure continued access to future archive editions.